Finger Lakes Wine, world-class wine made right here in our own backyard. But have you ever wondered how just exactly it goes from the vine to the glass? Well, WENY's Leanda Rosa joins us now with a look behind the scenes of the wine industry. Leanne?
Renata, some think winemaking is just a business or a skill, or maybe even an art. But when you sit down and pour yourself a glass, you're actually sipping science. When you think of winemaking, you may think it goes like this. Well, not quite. You may think it's just pressing a few grapes and letting it sit for years and years in a barrel to ferment. Well, you're getting closer, but there's more. There's a whole other side to winemaking.
I almost joke that we're more like sort of therapist philosophers as we're examining the wine, saying, what's in you? What's trying to come out of what we grew?
It's an art, but also a science.
There are actually chemical transformations that are taking place. You're letting yeast act on the juice, and the yeast eats the sugar in the juice and turns it into alcohol, which is what makes the wine nice, and carbon dioxide.
And in many wineries, beyond the tasting room and tanks, lies a little laboratory.
This is an aeration setup that helps us to check free sulfur levels.
From alcohol level to pH level to sulfur level and much more. Each test is run to make sure that glass you pour yourself on a Saturday night tastes just right. But some little labs can't do everything. That's why many wineries rely on the Finger Lakes Wine Laboratory that runs out of Dairy One Cooperative Inc. in Ithaca. They're a resource that helps make everything a little more exact.
We offer all the standard tests for different acids and sugars.
Many wineries use the lab for more complex tests, like testing yeast assimilable nitrogen playing a big role in fermentation.
20 years ago when we started, there were a lot of tests that a lot of the wineries had to do for flaws because there wasn't as much winemaking knowledge, and so a lot of the wines we really did just sort of throw in the yeast, we collectively throw in the yeast and walk away and let it make itself, and then we would come back over the winter and say, oh, something's wrong there, we got to fix that, we got to fix that.
And if the nutrients aren't properly balanced?
You can have anything from a hard-boiled egg to rotten egg, all the way up to the smell of, well water, the worst well water you've ever smelled.
Constantly testing helps avoid that.
They'll take a sample immediately and call us, and then we'll go out and get the sample, and within 24 hours they'll get the result, their nitrogen result, so they can make that decision.
For everyone, it's nice to have the check. It's really nice to have somebody that can go in there and prove that your work is proper, because we all kind of get a little blind and sometimes we hurry along.
But the Finger Lakes Wine Lab says it's not just about being exact, it's about the confidence, supporting the already good winemakers to help give their wine that extra edge.
They're artists. They are scientists, but a lot of them, we're there to help them with the scientific aspect so that they can focus on the more subtle things, the art of the wine.
And although the lab helps test everything down to the nitty-gritty, everyone seems to agree that making a good glass of wine can be done without going any further than the use of your own senses.
I still say the tasting is part of the science because you're analyzing, you're picking it apart, but by doing that, I think that builds a little of what many people would perceive as the artistry, which is this sort of ultimately somebody's saying, that's it, okay, we're there. And is that art or science? Yes, it is.
And even though harvest is only a few months out of the year, the wineries and wine lab run multiple tests all year long. Some are monthly, some are weekly, all to make sure the process is smooth every step of the way. In the studio, Leanda Rosa, WENY News.